Hello. In this video, I'm going to give you some exercises which will help to achieve that full-blooded sound that the legendary violinists of the Baroque period were so famous for, Bieber and Corelli and Locatelli, among others. One of the faults that one frequently finds is that the hand is held very high wrist, elongated fingers, and therefore the contact between the sensitive under parts of the finger and the stick is not very healthy. And if that contact is not healthy, then the contact between the hair of the bow and the string will be difficult to manage. So instead of having a high wrist and elongated fingers, I want you to bring the fingers down so that the fingers can really feel the hair of the bow through the stick. Now, in previous videos in this series, we've discussed how important it is when playing at the frog to have an arched, strong fourth finger, because the role of the fourth finger at the frog is to act as an anchor, a counterbalance, if you like, to the weight of the bow. It's possible to play, many people do, without the first finger at all on the stick at the frog. But for the sake of argument, it's also possible to take off the second and even the third. But if I put all four fingers on the string and I take away the fourth, the bow will tip up. Unless, of course, I grip it tight, which I must never do. So the fourth finger has its territory where it's sovereign, it's predominant. And so do the other fingers. They all have their territory, their spaces where they are the most important finger. I'm going to start off by demonstrating what happens if, keeping the first finger in the air, I start off with a full-blooded sound at the frog. By the time I get almost to the point, the sound has completely deteriorated. And the reason for that is simple. At the tip, the fourth finger has no role. If it could press down, it would merely take the bow off the string. So we can dispense with the fourth finger altogether. The important finger at the tip is the first finger. The first finger digging into the stick and forcing the bow onto the string can produce, for a short space, a full-blooded sound from the tip to somewhere around here. And after that, it becomes a little awkward. And the reason for that is that it's strayed into the territory of the next finger along the second finger. So the second finger is sovereign somewhere between the middle and the point. And I can dig the bow into the string using just the second finger to produce a full-bodied sound. And if the two fingers are willing to work together, they can produce a full-blooded sound from just about the middle to the tip of the bow. But again, moving a little bit towards the frog, there comes a time when those fingers are no longer comfortable. And that's because they've trespassed into the territory of the third finger. Now, the third finger does not press down. On the contrary, the third finger pulls the frog upwards. It draws the frog, as it were, into its clutches. And by doing that, following the principle of the lever, it forces the bow down onto the string. So instead of trying to push down with the fourth finger, which is impossible, I'm going to draw it up. And I need another finger to act as a fulcrum. So I'm going to put the second finger down, and I'm going to pull the third finger up so that the bow is digging deep into the string. And the second and third finger will be most comfortable somewhere between the middle and the frog. But going up to the frog, I will need again the fourth finger. So each finger has its territory, the area where it's most responsible for the production of sound. And we should practice those areas finger by finger, using, I suggest, the well-loved and trusted second etude of Rudolf Kreutzer. And I'm going to play 4 bows to each note, starting at the tip and using just the first finger. Etc. Now, you probably won't get even halfway through the etude if you're playing it really loud using just one finger, before you might start feeling a little bit of discomfort here in the muscles of the forearm. If that's the case, you need to stop, shake the stiffness out of the arm, and go and do something else altogether. When you come back, you can do the same exercise using just the second finger, finding where it's most comfortable and most influential. Etc. And the same thing with the second and third. But again, if you feel discomfort or worse, pain, please stop, get rid of the pain, and do something else. Here's the second and third finger. And you'll find that when you work in this way, the contact, the feeling, the live contact with the stick will really improve, and the contact between the stick, the hair, and the string will equally improve. And you can finally do it up using the fourth finger at the frog. Now, having worked each of the fingers and the combination of 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 4, we can go through the bow and we can use each finger in its own territory. So, starting at the tip, I'm going to start with the first finger and then add the second, then take away the first, so I've just got the second. Then I'm going to add the third, so I have the third and the second, and then finally at the frog, the fourth. Going the other way, it's the fourth, take the fourth off, I've got the third and the second, take the second on its own, then with the first, and finally just the first. And I can do that too without actually stopping. So it's 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4. And the other way around, it's 4, 3 and 2, 2, 2 and 1, and 1. Now, of course, I can't actually play that way, but I can internalize, if you like, that feeling of going from one finger to the other as we pass through their different territories. So without stopping, I'm doing the same exercise. So feeling 1 as important, then 1 and 2, 2, 2 and 3, and eventually 4. 4, 3 and 2, just 2, 2 and 1, and 1. And I believe if you practice these exercises studiously, after a short while, you'll begin to feel really a grip on the string, not floating over it, but really in the string. One of my great teachers, Shandor Vague, wonderful quartet player, if we didn't hold the bow in a solid way, not a stiff way, but a solid way, he'd get us to play like this. And that's rather awkward to do, but it's certainly better for the sound than the high hand that we spoke about at the beginning of this video. So I hope you find these exercises interesting, and I hope you really enjoy practicing them.